June 28th. We're here at MOSI, the most amazing place in the world for science, technology, and all the cool stuff. We got students behind us. We're going to be talking about some of the neat things that are happening at MOSI during the summer. But I've got to my left Mr. Wittestrinko, an amazing individual, and really, guys, you need to relax. This is just a conversation that we're going to have a round table, as we were having over there, talking about some fascinating things that are going on with some amazing people. We got a guy right here who I grew up, knowing, or I knew his family because I was a big fan of Grimm and the Grimm fairy tales, and so we're going to introduce Tom Grimm here in a second. But it's just cool, the people we've got around the table. But Whit, why don't you tell us where we are, and then could you kind of introduce the folks that we have here today?
Sure. Welcome to MOSI. It's 318,000 square feet of fun, dealing with science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and the world around you. And it's a mere 600,000 to 1 million people a year come through the Science Center. You'll see all the summer science camp kids coming in the background. They're engaged for the entire summer in week-long programs from 2-year-olds to high school kids. And Tony Pelaez runs that program. He's our resident technology geek and environmentalist, all in one package. Molly DeMillionaire she ran a science center in Sarasota called Gee Whiz, and I stole her from Sarasota. Sorry about that. But she she understands the value of science centers to all of us in America today. And Tom Grimm, a friend of mine for a long time, he's invited me to wonderful activities around the planet and doing a lot of them here. And he's one of our brainchild people that they're going to help create the next MOSI of 2025.
That's so cool. We also have Terry, Terry, can you introduce yourself and tell us about the robot competition and your program?
I'm Terry Willingham, and I'm the regional director for FIRST Robotics in Central Florida. And FIRST is a K through 12 STEM education program that uses robots to teach science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And we're very excited about the partnerships we have in the area. We're working with Middleton High School and other schools in the area to provide this really engaging way to learn about science.
Now, you just kind of casually tossed your hand towards...
Not casually. She's a really important person. So
I just had the opportunity to meet the vice principal.
Yeah, assistant principal, but vice principal.
The person in charge.
In charge of the magnet programs.
And now, can you... we were having a conversation off screen, but I really think that I really wanted to zero in. Hillsborough County is phenomenally lucky because we're talking about the challenges of higher ed and understanding what's going on with this tsunami in tech that's occurring, and they need to be flexible. And I've met the most incredibly dynamic and flexible individual who's put together a phenomenal program. We were at Middleton High School last week, where or earlier this week actually, where we announced the EDI2 program, the Economic Development Innovation Initiative. But I got to see some of the most incredible students who are light years ahead of where I was when I was that age, who are putting together some amazing things. Could you tell us about yourself, about the program, and what's going on? And then I wanted to kind of let you and Tom Grimm kind of talk about where we're going to go next.
Okay, well, thank you, Mark. I'm Kim Moore, and I am the assistant principal at Middleton High School, Pre-Collegiate STEM Academy. And my duties include, I'm responsible for the magnet program, so I oversee the entire magnet program curriculum. And we are the Pre-Collegiate STEM Academy for Hillsborough County Public Schools. So it was a privilege for you, Mark, to come over and bring your team Tuesday with our students, because at Middleton, what we are doing is we are on the forefront, the cutting edge of STEM. We offer our students opportunities through programs like Terry spoke about, working with our partnership with FIRST, for our students to take what they learn in the classroom, the theory, because it's still important that students have a strong foundation of knowledge. But the key question that we look at is, what do we do with that knowledge? How do we give our students an opportunity to put that into place, to give them that real world application and experience? Because in order for students to compete today in the 21st century, they have to be able to do 5 basic skills. They have to communicate, both in a written format and an oral format. They have to be able to critically think. They have to problem solve. They must be able to collaborate in partnerships through many different vehicles, to include virtual collaboration, and they must be able to data mine. With the rate at which information is changing and what the internet has done for us, the way we get our information, students have to be able to critically sort through large amounts of information, glean what is important, take that information and apply it. So our programs at Middleton High School, we have programs that are designed to do that. We offer 4 magnet programs. We have a biotechnology, biomedical program, which is tied strictly to or scientific research. Under our technology, we have the only Academy of Video Game Design at the high school level. And then we also have a computer systems engineering program for those students that want to earn industry certifications in Cisco networking, A+ certification, cybersecurity. We have an engineering program, and we use Project Lead the Way for the engineering program, which is a nationally recognized curriculum, as well as in our biomedical program. And then we have a very, very robust math program to support all of those magnet programs, because math is the universal language, and students have to understand those relationships and how to use math to move us forward. So our goal at Middleton is to prepare our students so that when they walk out of our schools, whatever career path they choose, be it college or right into industry, that they're ready to compete and compete successfully. And we are always looking for opportunities to collaborate locally. So we do work with MOSI, we work with FIRST Robotics, we work with organizations like the Bay Area Manufacturers Association, local industries, so that when what we're doing is creating a natural pipeline of keeping that intellectual capital from our area in this area to help us move the Tampa Bay area in the direction that we know it needs to go for the future. So we're just excited because we have the best kids. We just have brilliant students, as you saw, and they love what they're doing. And they're learning those things they need to do in a way that engages them. So that's why I'm so excited to talk with my new friend here, Tom, because we are of like mind. We're kindred spirits.
Well, it's really exciting to be here, and I should say that I was invited to come here by Whit Ostrinko and his colleagues who've been working on the challenge between what people have been calling STEM education, which is in the parlance of education, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. But what's been missing is the application on the art that creates purpose and focus to what STEM is. Mm-hmm. In the United States, only 6.1% of the students graduating from college go into STEM fields. The United States can't sustain that. We are losing, in the last 10 years, we've lost already 50% of advanced manufacturing jobs. Not because of the competitive pricing and labor change differences between us and other countries, but because of skill, which is shocking when you consider the United States and its leading universities around the world. But those universities aren't keeping up themselves with these new advances in advanced additive manufacturing and rapid prototyping technologies. So there's initiatives from the White House down to Department of Commerce and the like to say, how do we re-engage the learning models that you're championing with these new innovations in technology? And the way you do that is by creating what Whit and Mark and others are championing, this STEAM zone idea. And what this is to create a nexus point where those institutions coming under the umbrella and leadership of MOSI say, we've got a place where we're going to provide learning through mission-based projects that have focus and purpose. It's important to understand the mathematics and the science, but most kids, when you give them problems like, well, there's a train leaving Chicago going 80 miles an hour and one leaving New York, they go, wait a minute, I haven't got a ticket onto that train. That's not where I'm going, because it's abstract. They want to know, we're going to build an advanced agricultural system. We're going to build a new kind of robotics, something that's resonant with their own lives. When you see young children making a quadcopter with a little drone with GPS on it and they're 10 years old, that's actually what's happening in the world. Yes. The makers movement, the innovation with applications that give meaning to all these STEM principles, that's what the STEAM zone is. So on the one hand, the idea is to create a digital badging program where people can acquire those special skills tied to industry, tied to the work pipeline that's not being met through programs that are offered here. And this isn't easy for institutions that have for many, many years responded to academic traditions that go back centuries. The technology is turning over so fast. We have to be much more adaptive to the digital media, the interactive media tools of video games and the like, and use that as a new source of teaching and learning that accelerates and keeps up with the changing pace of technology today. And so to do that, that's why this vision you have of the STEAM zone is so essential, because it allows you to leapfrog and not just laboriously try to change this gigantic Byzantine Leviathan of American education, which is hard to shift culturally from the standpoint of labor challenges and the like, to really adapt to the needs of American business world today. And so we see partnering with industry in a different way, partnering with academia in a new way, but using those new innovative technologies to create a revolution. And that's the STEAM zone idea that you guys have championed that we're so excited about. And my work, which has been centered in Silicon Valley and as well as in Irvine, California, with a lot of high-tech companies, they recognize these challenges too, and there's a lot of other parts of the United States that are looking at it. But across the U.S., the place that has really captured my imagination, saying, where you're really just been great, is right here in Tampa, Florida. And this is why I'm here, because I thought, what an amazing team. And I'll make one last comment. I had an opportunity to take part of this design charrette with Molly and Witt and this amazing team of people here, and the ideas and the innovative thinking, and with educated leaders like yourself. What you have here is an opportunity to create something that becomes a national model, really the leading center of its type in the United States for STEAM education, science, technology, art, and application, combined with mathematics. There's a sense of mission and purpose that makes all these abstract notions of science and technology have the kind of power that makes kids not just become skilled in those fields, they become leaders. They start shaping the world of tomorrow. They see themselves as entrepreneurs, not just tools of industry, but those are going to create a sustainable future both economically and also environmentally. And that's where I see this institution having the forefront in that leadership position.
So the STEAM zone concept, which Witt and many others have been working hard at putting this together, you've been working with Tony right now. Now, can you tell me, because what I'm hearing are incredible ideas, and it's really exciting to hear that anyone from Silicon Valley is saying that, hey, the innovation is happening right here. That's pretty neat. But still, what are you doing, and how are you collaborating with them to make all these ideas and concepts a reality?
I think what's key in bringing all of this about really is about having these meaningful conversations together. The technology in its sort of its base form, science and everything, are cold and they don't really have the meaning. But when you bring about, for example, our summer camp programs are a massive program where students from all over the world come together and have an opportunity to get that spark of inspiration. The schools do a phenomenal job. Schools like Middleton do a phenomenal job of being able to provide the essential, the elements. But what we do is we provide that meaning of what's important about what they're learning, and then that freedom, because we're unfettered. In formal science we have the ability to do whatever we want, and we encourage the kids to think and to pursue what they're interested in, and the kids encourage one another, because at the heart of the STEAM zone, besides people, is also people encouraging one another. We have to be able to think that this is an environment that's supportive, that I can come into MOSI, I can come into a summer science camp program, I can do any program and feel that I can be myself, and that I can explore on my terms and based on my interests. So when you have that together, and like minds, when they get together, amazing things come out. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why Idea Zone was created. It's not like we invented the concept of a space where people could come together. If we look at the computer revolution, it came together from people who met at a model railroad club. If Idea Zone can be a place where families and young people and everyone can come together and find a sanctuary and a place to inspire one another, then it's hopefully 30 years from now someone will say, hey, that the ability to we progressed because of people coming together in a space in a science center.
Well, let me ask you, because Tom's talking about this really cool concept, and stop me if I say something I'm not supposed to say before it's supposed to be announced.
Oh,
but
no,
I
you can announce it right
But
now.
well, okay, again, I announced the big news today. But I'm really fascinated with this concept. I mean, we're going to go visit the MIT Media Lab, and I've read the Sorcerer and Their Apprentice, which is a fascinating book about all these cool things that are going on both at MIT, but then you talk to Stanford folks and what's happening at SRI, and we're kind of trying to build something like that here, correct? I mean, this idea that you're working on, can you kind of tell me a little bit about what you were describing over there and what we think we might be able to do here with Tony and the others?
Thanks, Mark. Here's what we see happening. There is some specific technology areas. One of them is called additive manufacturing. In the parlance of advanced manufacturing, refers to things like what people call rapid prototyping or 3D printing or multi-axis milling machines. These are devices that let people with relatively not so advanced skills to create things of astonishing levels of quality and fidelity that would not have been possible to make 5 years ago.
Okay.
So there's this revolution about how people can get involved with making and creating things that don't take 10 years of science and technology education. And so because of that leapfrog of technology, it represents an opportunity to allow people to become innovators and creators that otherwise are excluded from that process. Mm-hmm. So you have many more people involved with the idea of making new things and using their creative ideas to apply them to solve problems in new ways. And that's where MOSI and these institutional partners come in. So one of the things, Mark, is to say how to familiarize educators and students in the broader community to understand these new opportunities that simply didn't exist even a few years ago. The democratization of those types of systems.
I like that word. I was writing that down. The democratization. This opens it up to everybody.
It opens it up to everybody. Years ago, to become a master artisan in some of these fields took years and years of a master apprentice program. And by the way, one of the things that's great about Tampa and about the surrounding area, there's a lot of extremely skilled machinists and designers and engineers who are now nearing retirement age.
Yes.
And we want to pass that flame of knowledge and skill on. So the idea of bringing those communities of talent back into with young people is part of it as well. We don't want to lose the great traditions of Florida. For example, you think of Daytona, you think of the areas in Florida where people have souped up, made all these hot red cars. Those were people who were adapting in their garage, wrecked cars and turning them into amazing race cars, and it became a national phenomenon. That came out of Florida. And that same garage logic of tearing apart your cars and everything is now reawakening itself through these new traditions. What we're trying to do is to say that culture of innovation, which is part of the soul and identity of this state, we want to reclaim that and make this again a national model. So he sees a combination of both bringing in the heritage of those master of automotive, aerospace design and machinists and the like with these new tools, with a sense of purpose. So the idea is not just to make anything, but to learn how to make things that make society, make our world a more sustainable one. And so that's where the vision and of people like yourself who have a background in a lot of these key areas that are part of the next generation of new industries for Tampa, in agriculture, in automotive, and other sorts of engineering fields, will bring those into focus. Now, I would say one other thing that we had a very lively conversation yesterday, and that is about entrepreneurship. We want to bring forward entrepreneurship into this model as well. So they're not just innovating and learning these ideas. People can start new careers in ways that you never thought possible. Let me give you an example. About 10 years ago, when they did surveys of engineers graduating from these elite institutions, MIT, Caltech, most of the engineers wanted to work for big, high-tech companies and make their fortunes that way. Now, about 90% want to start their own companies. Right. They want to start their own new businesses and their own new inventions with startups. We want to teach entrepreneurship so Florida isn't just a cauldron or a crucible for innovating, but for creating new businesses.
Well, let me ask Ms. Moore, because in fact, when I was talking with the gentleman who instructs the students at Middleton High School, I'm going to mispronounce his name.
Mr. Kinefron.
How do you?
Mr. Kinefron.
What a fascinating gentleman. And he came to me and he said, look, we've got an idea. We've got 3 or 4 students who are working on some projects. We're approached by businesses all the time that say, hey, put together our webpage, whatever it might be. But it's taking the talent and the ideas and then connecting it with a business plan so that you can actually. Is that being done are you working on that at Middleton, or is that kind of beyond the scope of what your program is about? And if it is beyond, who and how can we kind of help inject that in? Because what I'm finding is high school students are saying, I'm ready to start a business.
That's right.
This is not like I'm going to have to go through 4 years of college or whatever it might be. They're ready to go now.
And I love that question and I was so excited. I'm listening to Tom talk and I'm thinking, okay, we are at that point right now. In our programs, as you saw when you came for the kickoff, our kids are learning through the process of development. So in the Academy of Video Game Design, the summer camp we just did was very much like what you were talking about, Tony. Our students were learning their math, their science through the actual development of a video game. They have to put those pieces into place, play the game, fix it if it doesn't work, and all of that is that critical thinking and problem solving. So we're creating like an incubator for kids to begin to understand that innovative process and how to move through it. Our magnet programs allow us that flexibility to do that. We have a 3D printer on our campus, so our students learn that, and they learn the high-tech milling process. With our robotics program through FIRST, we were the 2012 FIRST Robotics Championships.
That's so cool.
Champions. Last year, this current year, we're second in the world through FIRST Robotics.
Who was first? I'm just curious.
We don't know.
Some other team.
But we won the Edison division. So,
we're number 2. Well, we're a number 1 school.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
That's amazing. That's amazing in the world.
Yes, in the world, and in the state of Florida. For the last 3 years, we've been the state champions. Our 3 teams were 3 out of the 4 top teams in the state tournament this year. So it's that real world application that partnerships like we have with FIRST, working with institutions like MOSI, allow our kids to begin that process. Now we're also doing in the entrepreneur front, we have a partnership with the 100 Black Men of Tampa, and they're getting ready to do a summer camp with our students on entrepreneurship, helping them, taking them through the process of developing a business plan from start to finish. And they actually receive a scholarship from a grant that the 100 Black Men have to help them kind of launch their business. So at Middleton, what we do is we try to create those unique relationships with different stakeholders in this process to bring those components together and at least start that foundation. Because I have students that have gone out, are apps developers. I have a young man that was an Apple beta tester when he was a student on our campus. He now works for Apple. I mean, I have truly the best and the brightest. I have a young man that earned his A+ certification in the 6th grade. He's now going to be our network manager, and he's a sophomore this year. One of my seniors, who was the network manager for us this year, we have our own network within the classroom for our computer systems engineering program, was 10th in the nation at the Skills USA competition. So these are the level of students that we have here. So an opportunity like what you're developing at MOSI here will give us our students that room, that incubator, where they can then take those skills that they have and those brilliant ideas that they have and fully develop them. And I truly believe that we do have, as you said Tuesday, maybe the next Bill Gates or the Steve Jobs. You know, we have those kids right here in the Tampa Bay area at Middleton High School, and they're getting the experiences. And I'm just excited because I want to continue. I mean, I want it to grow and blossom.
I can feel it.
You know,
your
it's just
excitement
wonderful.
is contagious. It's amazing. Terry, did you want to add a point?
What I wanted to add on to that is that the power of what you're doing ties in with the mission-based learning idea. The first program, we want to try and bring this to more schools. We want to try and get this in every school. It's a K through 12 program. There's $16 million in scholarships in it, and it's a mentor-driven program. The whole idea is that professional community is part of this program. And so mentors from mechanical engineering and manufacturing, business development, come in and work with the kids. The robot is only 25%
It is.
of the judge scores that these kids get.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
Right.
and they don't tell them that. They're judged on their teamwork. They're judged on their ability to do interviews. They're judged on their engineering notebook. They're judged on their marketing. How do they market their team, their websites, their outreach, their ability to communicate what they learn and teach other people as well. And the power of these programs is in the business education relationship that they form. And it's a fantastic opportunity for kids to have fun. They're really having a ball building these robots, but they're learning so much more as part of this process. It's such a holistic, far-reaching program.
It is, and Terry, those skills are the 5 skills that I talked about earlier, but the nice thing about it is our kids then go out and they work with the manufacturers
Right.
in the Bay Area to produce their robots. They work with companies like SMT to do the milling for us to design, to create the
wow.
parts that our students need. Our students, and Terry will testify to this, we don't, as the adults, do anything for the robot. The kids build that robot from design to product to refurbishing it, tweaking it, redesigning it. They do all of that work. We're there really as supervisors and just, safety purposes. The kids do the work, but it also requires them to go out, and then it creates that pipeline for advanced manufacturing because these kids already have that basic knowledge when they walk out. I have kids that are interning right now in local Bay Areas manufacturers, and on my STEM advisory board, I have different industries represented on the board, and what they are doing is they are giving us the feedback as to what do they need from us. How do we produce that quality product for them to develop their workforce? So this synergy that we have here, I just think is fabulous. It's just so awesome.
And the other thing about it too is that they compete in alliances. They have to compete.
Yes.
They don't compete on their own. They compete with an alliance partner who's another school or another team from another area, but that's also in another match their opponent. And so their relationship has to remain in a real world relationship where the person you're working with can sometimes be your competitor, but sometimes is your alliance partner. And it's a very real world.
Kind of sounds like the Hunger Games, but without without the fighting part.
Well, with
or building
scholarships at
robots.
the end, yeah.
So it's really
But-
nothing like the Hunger Games, but still.
Right. But and the thing is, to the entrepreneurship components of it, FIRST has a Global Innovation Award at the Lego League level,
Yes.
and also and FTC has one. The higher levels have it as well, where the kids present. They have a competition outside of the competition where they present a real world solution to a real world problem, and they can actually get patent support and creating these products and these creations that they have. And I guess last year's winner just went and formed their own company, and I think they're like 14 years old or something.
Yeah.
What's interesting? There's really kind of 3 areas we're talking about here in terms of these pathways forward through the STEAM zone that Whit and his colleagues are creating here, and with partnerships and alike. And that is one, as you say, in the traditional academic setting, when you have children have the opportunity to do these robotics projects and other things, they create a portfolio of work. When you want to go to an elite institution, it isn't just about your grades and your tests and what you've accomplished. It's about having done significant work that you can see because grades sometimes get inflated, and there's lots of ways people can optimize their test performances, and there's questions about how really that reflects your performance in these other institutions. But when you see something they've made, worked in a collaborative way, institutions, really the elite ones, are looking for those opportunities, and that's where, again, why MOSI and STEM in the STEAM zone here becomes a big advantage for the kids in Tampa Bay and the surrounding area to really have that extra edge that other schools at other parts of the United States won't have. The second area has to do with, as you point out, and you pointed out, and all we're talking about, is its relationship to business. There's a lot of great strategic partnerships with industry here, where we can have the specific skill sets that allow these students to go directly from their learning experiences in schools to industry and earn a really top-notch income. And the third thing, as you said, is entrepreneurship. With crowdsourcing, it's crowdfunding like Kickstarter, there's many other examples, where young people, as young as 14, 15, are starting very substantial companies. And of course, they need to know how to do this. They need to have guidance about entrepreneurship and work with businesses and the like, and business mentors in the business schools. But all these things together, whatever those pathways are forward, the key point is the STEAM zone idea from the beginning, this very core idea that you're championing, Mark and Whit and your colleagues here. That's a revolution. And if we keep those 3 areas unified and integrated together, we can have something that no one else has the same way here in the country and really create a national model. So I think that what we're talking about today here is really a revolutionary idea. And it's because of the nimbleness of what this institution culturally is about. Because when I've worked with other science centers and universities, there is a hard shifting, resistance towards a paradigm shift like this. But these folks here that I've met with, no, let's just leap forward. Let's just go for it. There's just sort of really remarkable in how flexible their thinking is.
And we're going to go this way, and I've got to let. This is the most amazing conversation. We're going to continue this on. I love the term revolution. I mean, I think I'm at heart, I'm a revolutionary. And I'm not afraid of change when it's good for positive reasons. But I'm a visual person. I've got to see it. And I think what you're going to provide is this opportunity for a community, which at times have been kind of comfortable and satisfied with where it's been. And we're always trying to push. I was trying to push in 2010 for a transportation change, and people just couldn't see it. And so we have to keep working on showing them. But you're going to show them right here what this is all about so they can see it. But it's actually going to be more than just a visual display, because I don't like being patronized. Don't bring me to a program where all I'm looking at are flashing lights and bells and whistles. I want to actually, and these young people that are coming in here today, they want to be part of something. They want to be part of something that's happening now. And you're going to make that here, but tell us, because I've been waiting to hear from you.
And that's what makes MOSI so special, is you can see the kids behind you right now. We don't wait until they get to high school. We have science, engineering, math, art, and everything for preschool kids. We have an entire preschool here at MOSI that we're teaching science through ice and friction and physics through hockey. And so we're starting off when they're really tiny, and we're also exposing their families, which is a really key component of this conversation, is increasing the overall scientific literacy of our country. Because if their parents don't find it necessary, they're not going to pass that information on. And by the time they get to high school, they want to be a basketball player. They don't want to be a scientist. And so we've got to get them when they're that age.
Well, they can be a basketball player, scientist. I mean, they can.
Yes,
And we actually have that.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have a great example of he's a full professor at the University of Penn, and he's a chemical engineer. Well, he started off as a young kid taking our summer science camp classes.
Really?
When you talk to people in graduate school in in STEM careers, why are you in this? How did you get started in this? Well, I had an interest. I had an uncle or an aunt who showed me what engineers actually do. Mm-hmm. So MOSI shows people at an early age and gets them interested in a topic. If you don't get them interested in it, they're never going to do it, and they're never going to follow through. It's the interest, not what your grades are, not what your SAT score is, not how many awards you won. The top kids are going into Wall Street. They're not going into STEM. And, the key is we're filling this pipeline at the earliest ages. We're working with young parents who are expecting to have children and getting them started at the Science Center at that age. And so we have these preschool programs. Thank you, PNC Bank, for supporting. They came to us and said they want to do this program, and I said, well, what age group are you focusing on? They said, really the youngest kids, preschool. And I went, oh, you mean like kindergarten kids? No, pre-K in science and math. And I went, wow, somebody actually gets it as a national agenda that they have. So then we carry them right through that pipeline of interest in careers in science, or mine was biology, zoology, aquatic ecology, and robotics. That's too mechanical for me. I gotta study living systems, and be outside. I don't want to be stuck behind a computer.
Although now the singularity is near, and I understand that robots and humans are going to become.
It is. It's closely related, and I love that your programs are geared toward that, because you'll see that in Hillsborough County's public schools. I mean, we have robotics at the elementary school. We have.
Is it throughout? Now, is that throughout? When you come to Hillsborough County and you have an interest in that, how do you get into that pipeline if you live in
You
a
come to
different
MOSI,
area?
you come to
Through,
MOSI, and Tony will take you.
and
He's
through
got a
MOSI,
software program.
we work
that
with
he teaches for
MOSI,
preschoolers.
but yes, it's the magnet program. So, for example, Lomax Elementary School, which is about a mile away from Middleton, is a STEM elementary school.
Okay.
McFarland Elementary School is another STEM middle school,
My neighbor goes
elementary
to
school,
McFarland.
and they have a wonderful Lego robotics, both Lomax and McFarland. So we're doing that, but as a parent, I'm a parent and I'm a grandparent, and I'm a biologist by degree. My certification is chemistry, and I'm an alternatively certified educator. I'm a 20-year military retired officer. So what I
Wow.
do, though, is I encourage. My daughter has a dual degree in physics and astronomy, and she's coming this weekend, in fact, with my 3 grandsons and her husband. We always come to MOSI because my grandsons are already doing, as one of them said, "Grandmother, I'm doing alphabet math," and he was in the 2nd grade. I said, what is alphabet math? I'm thinking, trying to recover. What is alphabet math? And he's telling me, like A plus 3b equals. I said, "Oh, that's algebra, honey. You're doing algebra." He goes, "Okay, I'm doing algebra math." I'm like, "Okay, but it's getting kids hooked early, and that's what I know you'll hear terms like Common Core coming out.
Yeah.
It's getting kids into these programs. My grandson, the oldest one, was the coolest kid in 3rd grade because I bought him a robotic arm for him to build with his mother and he took it in for show and tell, and all the kids loved it. So he already knows he wants to be a mathematician and an architect.
You can buy those in our MOSI gift shop.
And you do, because every time they come, I buy them at least one thing out of the and we come every year to MOSI. They love it here. It's like going to Busch Gardens for them because they have an interest in everything that makes this world operate. And that's what science is. When I taught science, I used to tell my kids, science is everything. It is everything around you.
And it's the
everything.
whole maker movement that we're talking about, that innovation. A lot of people, they don't know how things work. We've lost that
Exactly.
edge as a country, and so people don't know how to make a car. And so we're bringing, that is the future of science centers. And that's one really excited thing. Tony mentioned our idea zone. And that's where it all starts, is you can get in there and you can take the idea off the back of a cocktail napkin and you can walk out of MOSI with a working prototype.
Yeah.
So dads can bring in their daughters and they can work on some crazy invention that they have that would provide a solution in their world, and then that little girl can start a Kickstarter campaign and actually start her company right here in the Tampa Bay area. And it's really about engaging the whole family in that process. It can't just be the kids at school, it's got to be throughout our entire community. And so our passion here at MOSI is to make sure every single person in our community can come to summer camp and can come to the museum. So we are constantly raising money for scholarships, and bus transportation is one of a really difficult challenge. Getting kids from all the different schools, especially Title I schools that may not have the bus funds. So I spend a lot of my time
And we're a Title I
raising
school.
money to make sure that we can provide those transportation funds to make sure those kids have those experiences.
And
they got to get out of
hire
the
it.
classroom because
And
they're
you-
not going to live in a classroom once they graduate.
Correct. And you hire, because you've hired some of my students
Yes.
that work here. And we're a
Absolutely.
Title I school. So, it really is, and that's what I love about, this project that you started, Mark, is the synergy of bringing all of these stakeholders together, because we all have a piece in this pie. It really starts from bringing every creative minds, an institution like MOSI, partnerships with organizations like FIRST, bringing in our local business partners, our industry, having them come in and tell us what we need to do, education, all of these components coming together and having the flexibility. I mean, I can't champion it enough that, I have a superintendent, Ms. Ilya, who gives us the flexibility in our programs to be more creative, to be more out of the box, and to come up with new ideas and ways by which we're going to prepare our students so that when they walk out, they're ready for the challenges. We have that creativity here in our district.
One of the things that you said, Mark, I just want to comment on, because you commented about what about the basketball scientist. And the reality is, the idea behind really high-performance sports, and you look at an Olympic training center and see all the motion capture systems they use to analyze performance of great athletes, is very high-tech. It's all STEAM and STEM education. And we were talking about that yesterday. So here at MOSI, one of the very exciting conversations we had yesterday was to do camps and clinics with really perfecting that golf swing or how you hit a ball or how you do things with athletics is also STEAM and science and technology. So the idea is we're going to have to give up sports, and your passion for having fun by doing things in a laboratory is not the reality we're talking about. This will be a really fun thing to tie sports with technology.
Well, I was at a conference in Orlando yesterday, and we were talking. It was the Society of Economic Development Officers, or something like that, in Florida, and they were meeting at the Orlando airport, and we were meeting with entrepreneurs and innovators, talking about the meeting point between government programs and what we're trying to do to help the entrepreneur and what the entrepreneur actually needs. But what I was fascinated with was all the entrepreneurs. They're all marathon runners. They're all outdoors people. They're biking. There's a passion for the outdoors, for trails, and for learning more about the human body and about health, nutrition, and all those things, as well as their passion for starting a business. The other thing, though, that fascinates me about what's going on in Silicon Valley and Joint Venture Silicon Valley, which is a webpage that is home based in Menlo Park, kind of talks about the challenges of Silicon Valley and the spikiness of the wealth and the opportunity that's occurred in Silicon Valley. You can have tremendous wealth right next to a lot of poverty, and for some reason it hasn't spread out. And what I love about what I'm seeing here is that we're starting by recognizing that some of the most creative, innovative minds are the ones that in other communities that maybe they got left behind a little bit. And I think the strength of this program is going to be, we're going to go to the wellspring of where really entrepreneurism is born. It's born with people who are hungry and want to make it.
Well, we're located in a perfect location. We are the neighborhoods to the south of us in Terrace Park and University Square.
That's our energy, man.
And University area.
That is well said.
Yes.
Well said.
And
in the middle.
what I love about it is just what you talked about. For example, in our biomedical biotechnology program, our kids take engineering classes because there is so much science involved in sports medicine. The point you made about the application, it's no longer acceptable for a student to just walk out with classroom grades. When I talk to my parents, we talk about building a college resume, not a college application, a resume, which includes a body of work. My last 3 valedictorians out of my program, Katie Gertz went to MIT. They only accepted 1,700 kids, and she was one of them. And it was based on a body of work that she had done at Middleton. My valedictorian after Katie, Jasmine Santiago, a young lady, captain of the robotics team and in charge of the robotics program that won the world championship. And then my valedictorian this year, Lee Gibson, won the Gates Millennial Scholarship, which will pay for his education all the way through the PhD level. So these students are competing because they have a body of work through our programs. And the first 2 were engineers, but Lee is a computer systems engineer. He's a network guy. So they have a body of work that is based upon real world application. And that is the critical point. And so I'm very excited about the changes that the legislators have made in the diploma options, because now we're getting back to career and college and giving our kids the opportunity to go whichever way their gifts and talents are, because when you're passionate about what you do, it's not work. And so that's the key, is to tap into that passion early, like in the pre-K, and get them thinking about, yes, STEM includes physics, but physics is fun. Physics is cool.
Scary.
It's not scary.
People think of science as this big thing that they're not quite sure they can tap into.
And it's boring, but it's not. It really is fascinating, and the programs at MOSI really help them see that, especially as an early age. That's why I love bringing my grandchildren here, because they get to do something new, and they test grandmother's knowledge of, you're the science teacher, grandmother.
And you're an astrophysicist.
We're gonna make it.
Safe. I think you're safe.
And that's one of the, I always say I have the greatest job in the world, not just because I can play with lots of fun toys and I have lots of freedom,
Which is cool.
Which, of course, is great. But one of the things is that I have the opportunity, and I've had this opportunity, to watch kids from preschool all the way up graduate from college, you know, and I've seen, you know, thanks to FIRST, for example, I've had students who've received scholarships, and they're just endless opportunities. We've had National Science Fair participants. We've had, you know, just you name it. We've had it, and that's one of the great things, because we can maintain a lifelong relationship with someone, with someone who's been part of our programs. We have kids that I see now that I've worked with that have become volunteers, and they're telling me as kids, "Oh, I'm going to be a volunteer when I get older." Okay, you can be a volunteer. And they're in volunteer. I'm going to work for you when I go. Look, you can work for me later on. And then they're coming back from me, usually standing over me from college. It's like, I was in your space camp when I was 8 years old, and now I decided I went to Embry-Riddle to become an aerospace engineer, and that's really what it's about. And I think, you know, that it's part of one of the things is that for the most part, adult society is always trying to tell people that you can't do this, you can't do that, and that's why, you know, it's why it's so important that our STEAM zone be a tremendously, like, fearlessly brave and supportive as far as somebody wants to be a basketball playing astronaut, biologist. Okay, this is how you can do it, and that's really what it's about. We have to encourage and not discourage, and provide the tools and provide the opportunities. I love, you know, just recently, yesterday, I had these 2 high school students who were in desperate need of somebody to help them with this 3D printing project for this project that they had to get in today. And they saw me on television and they said, "We saw that you had a 3D printer." I'm just like, just come in.
So you have a 3D printer?
Oh, we have we have multiple 3D printers.
We have 2?
3. And the cool thing is that we actually show people how to use it, because we don't keep it, you know, it's not some sort of technology that, you know, you just read about in the newspaper. It's in the spotlight. And so they came in, we made it happen, and they're off. And that's part of the satisfaction that I receive as well as anyone else who participates.
Well, the one thing, you said 2 things which attracted me. First, one of my favorite movies of all time back in 1984 was Buckaroo Banzai Across the 8th Dimension. He was a rock star. He was an astrophysicist. You got to watch that movie. Buckaroo Banzai Across the 8th Dimension.
Right.
Rock star, singer, physicist, explorer. So I just had to throw that in. But I want to kind of land on this concept that you all are working on, which is the STEAM zone.
That's
which is going to be,
when you take,
because here's what Tom says. It's not going to be, right? I mean, we want it to be replicated, but it's not happening anywhere at this time in the country, and it's going to happen right here at MOSI.
well, thanks.
Can you tell
Absolutely.
me about
If you
this?
take all this conversation, this whole conversation, and put it under one umbrella, it's called the STEAM zone. It's really a designation of our 73-acre site, and thanks to you, Mark, and your leadership on the Board of County Commissioners, thanks to the administration of the county, thanks to Mary Ellen Elia, who's on our board. She's going to be building. So just think of all of these topics. It's all going to happen here as a showcase to show the world, because we are a tourist destination. We have 40% of our visitors to the Science Center come from other parts of the world. So under one umbrella, we'll have preschool programs all the way through senior programs, my age.
Really?
I'll teach people how to be triathletes and what to eat,
Now,
proper
would it be,
nutrition.
the one thing that I met with Mary Ellen, and we talked about this briefly, and one of the things I thought was the interactive opportunity. Mm-hmm. You might not physically be able to come here, but is there going to be a way for students
Sure.
to
One of the things we're doing is designing a STEAM high school, and that's what the county system is doing. But we'll have the virtual capability of any of our programs, including this one. We'll go virtual. It'll go viral for sure.
And see, and
Distance
and
learning is
using
very
distance
important, and
learning,
we'll be
distance
providing not only you can go to high
Because
school.
if
I
everything's
pity you
digital
because you
and
only deal with
everything's-
high school, but we'll be certifying elementary school kids in media work and doing their music videos. We'll be certifying elementary school kids in technology and in environmental studies. We'll be certifying them in middle school as part of our MOSI Technical Institute. So by the time you get to high school, you already have 2 certifications. And then you'll be able to get high school certification with a specialty in
Right. in
gaming,
in gaming,
and
and Adobe,
so you don't have to go to
Dreamweaver,
Middleton. You can
Weaver,
go to any
Photoshop,
place
yes.
you live. You be
Yes.
live and breathing. You can come to the Science Center. And that's the whole idea.
And
'Cause-
I love that idea because as you saw in our classrooms, Mark, through smart boards, which we have in all
Oh,
of
yeah.
our magnet classrooms, we can bring in, using just simple free technology like Skype, we can bring in and do those virtual classrooms, and we can begin to tie together. I love the concept of STEAM because while we haven't talked about it, we do through our music program, for example, sound engineering. It's one of our most popular classes. Our kids use iPads. We were the first high school to have iPads in the district. They use iPads to create their music. So they're doing digital, using a digital format. Once again, it comes back to what Tony was saying. And the synergy, and to bring us all back to, I know your interest, Mark, with the economic development. When we have these type of creative initiatives like the MOSI STEAM project, it keeps that intellectual capital here in the Tampa Bay because we have great quality of life here. You know, we can't beat the sunshine and the beaches and all of those wonderful things that offer a quality of life. Now bringing in that high-tech job opportunities for our students, they'll be happy to come back. And
Well,
with
they'll be able
40%
to
of
work
those
at the
people
STEAM zone
come back.
because we're going to be bringing in not only innovative startup companies, but the mature companies that really know where they're going in the world today. And we have 73 acres, soon to be 100 acres. And we're, with the county's help, we'll be developing that whole site. If you're thinking about relocating, why wouldn't you want to locate at a public place like the Science Center next to a Research One University, which is right across the street, integrated with the Science Center, and with a, and that's what Molly and I are doing on a daily basis.
And there's about 30,000 STEM-related jobs in the state of Florida,
I was just gonna
STEAM-related,
talk about that.
STEM-related companies, and no, not jobs, sorry, companies in the state of Florida. So we're going to transform our entire second floor into an expo of those companies, talking about the cutting-edge technology that is being born right here in Tampa Bay, and our entire second floor is going to be an expo where people can come in and interact, not didactic information, but really making it an interactive experience. Maybe they're going to drive a race car, maybe they're going to, perform surgery with a spinal surgery robot, and that's all going to be here. And so it's about creating a place where everybody can come together and really just take the message out. And
The kids learn their careers as well.
Absolutely. We're going to have a certification programs where they can learn careers in the Idea Zone through all of our
And
different
so-
programs year round.
And see, that's so critical, Megan, because Florida right now, most people don't realize it, is right behind California as far as advanced manufacturing. The number of manufacturers that we have in this state alone is tremendous. I mean, it is an economic engine. We are third or fourth in the nation behind California. And we have great institutions like the Florida Banner Center, like FLATE, that are coming together to recognize what do we need to do to generate and that next workforce.
Let me say this about Florida. We are not considered a high-tech state.
No, we're not.
We are not considered a leading-edge state.
No.
That's what the whole idea of the STEM zone is, and to create those through our state legislators at the Speaker of the House level, the President of the Senate, and the Governor, to create 5 STEAM zones in the state of Florida to plant a flag that we are a STEAM state.
Yeah.
We are not known. We're known for our beaches, our sports, our tourism, and that's all good. But my son is he's in a STEAM career, and he can't get a job here. He's in LSU as a digital art and designer. I mean, the jobs are not here. Mark's trying to create those jobs
And that's
here.
what we've got to change. We've got to change that.
We will take advantage of our beaches. We'll take advantage of
Yeah,
our
that's-
sunshine.
those are
And, we've got some of the most
Tom's ready to move here from
interconnected
California.
trails in the nation. If you're a biker or I'm a runner, we've got trails throughout the state of Florida. We've got wildlife. I mean, it's amazing how beautiful the state is, but that's what we kind of fell back on. And even here in Hillsborough County, home building was a major, industry. And if you weren't building the home, you were mortgaging the home. You were coming up with a second mortgage. You're flipping homes. And really, we realized that's just not the future industry of this nation. The young people are interested in tech jobs, startups, scalable startups that could quickly expand and they make a lot of money. And for a lot of good reasons, the Austins of the world, the Silicon Valleys, the Salt Lake Cities, the Charlottes, the Bostons, the Atlantas, those areas were kind of grabbing the mantle of entrepreneurialism and startups, and we were kind of sitting back satisfied that our best and brightest from Middleton and others would go there.
Right.
And what we are creating is not just the training and the workforce, but we want to have the jobs here. We got a young man from the University of South Florida, comes to all our tech talks. He's interested in getting involved in this type of thing as well. We want to make sure that we have right here in Hillsborough County and Tampa Bay, I should say Tampa Bay, the jobs. And we're creating that. The one thing that we've done through MetaFuture 2023, we just had a meeting two nights ago at the EDC where Rick Homans, the new president and CEO of EDC, introduced the concept of an annual conference that will take place right here in Tampa Bay talking about disruptive healthcare. And we're inviting companies from all over the world to come and talk. They were here in May of 2013 at the, we had them at the downtown Marriott, but now we're going to be at the Convention Center in June of 2014, and we're going to have companies from all over the globe talking about disruptive healthcare right here in Tampa Bay. We want them to come set up shop here, but what would be cool is that they could partner with MOSI and be part of what's happening here as well. Visual displays, getting people excited about what's going on, letting young people see where they might be able to work.
Well, that's why we're building a hotel and a conferencing center to focus on bringing the world's interests and creating STEAM zones in the world, particularly in Tampa Bay, and show them what we're doing here.
And we got Tom Grimm's here, and Tom's going to help us network with Silicon Valley. I mean, we want to be friends of Silicon. We're not going to. Our goal is to work with you, network, be partners, and have it happen in here.
Well, Mark, one of the things that you've got over Silicon Valley is affordable property.
Yes.
And I've got two kids. They're both physicians in the Silicon Valley and South San Francisco Bay Area. The lower tier, the bottom tier for housing there is 1.5 million. That's the bottom of the four tiers. Now, so when I went out here and I was looking at Tampa Bay for a place to get a home, it was shocking how affordable everything is. The reality of what you said earlier, Mark, about that spikiness of Silicon Valley, which has to do with, you go to Palo Alto, yes, fabulous homes, the average housing stock there is 2-point-something million, average. You go to East Palo Alto, that's the excluded group, right? And they aren't part of that Silicon Valley phenomena. What you have here with your work, which is incredible, and what people are doing here is that everybody's invited to the party. It's not just the elite wealth of those absolutely brilliant people in Silicon Valley. This is a place people can come. Those young people can't afford to go to those places. And they can come here.
I hate to interrupt, but Rick Baker, the mayor of St. Pete, had a really cool strategy when he was redeveloping downtown St. Pete. When you would go talk to Rick, and if you go to downtown St. Pete, it's amazing what they've done. I mean, they're talking about the gleaming tall, buildings, beautiful restaurants, parks, a walkway with shops and such. But he focused his energy on what he called Midtown. And he took Goliath Davis and he said, "You're going to be my vice mayor, and we're going to focus on Midtown. And when you come to talk to me, I'm going to take you to Midtown," which was in a section of St. Pete, South St. Pete, which is really rough, struggling. But he said, "We're going to give the folks who live in South St. Pete a stake in what's happening. You're going to be what ignites us." And so the focus, the energy, the discussion was at Midtown. He's written a book about it called Seamless City. And as a result, downtown is thriving, but Midtown is doing incredibly well because it's part of it. And that's what we're going to do here. Everybody. I was talking with the Hispanic business community yesterday at the conference in Orlando, and they're like, "Look, you want to talk about entrepreneurs? Look at the Hispanic community. I mean, you don't see them because they're working so hard, but you got 1 and 2 and 3 family members working together on all sorts of cool startups. But you know what? They don't know how to kind of, maybe it's a communication issue. They have a struggle with, who do I talk to in government, so they don't. Well, we're going to be embracing the entire diverse community that's here in Florida. And
what you've hit, Mark, is critical mass. And the thing is, the talent is here, as you said. What's needed is a vision. What Whit has done with his team is created a vision with you. It's going to draw all those businesses, that organizing principle that has all those magnetic iron filings. Always put that magnetic field on a sudden it's focused on this idea. you're going to bring in companies from around the United States here because the talent, there's that new body of brilliant minds that you're educating and creating opportunities here. That draws businesses. They know they can find the talent here to work on those companies. But having what you said in terms of the vision here will drive this whole phenomenon. And this is the beachhead right here. This is a really exciting moment.
MOSI's the beachhead. I think how are we doing on time? What's that? We're at the hour. Hey, we only get 1
nice
hour.
work.
Sometimes we struggle. Sometimes it's like, okay, how do we keep this thing going? I mean, we didn't
We'll have to
struggle
come back
today.
again.
We didn't struggle.
No. This was amazing, and really, this is going to be podcast to the world. But the goal is to engage everyone in this conversation, to really, truly, kind of in Richard Reeve, Florida terms, reset our economy towards one that's creative, exciting, but that embraces everyone in our community. A very diverse, wonderful community right here in Tampa Bay, and this is the beachhead. This is the front. It's happening right here. Tom's going to make it happen. Whit's going to make it happen. Molly, Tony. We got there. You're amazing. The astrophysicist, rock star singer, head of the magnet program.
Grandmother.
Grandmother, at large. We got Terry Willingham, with robots. What a great group. And a lot of other people who are here who just want to come and listen and be part of it. And we encourage you to come. We're at Buddy Brew every Friday, except when we're not. Then we're at other places that are cool. So we're doing some cool things. And with that, we say,
you, Mark.
see you next week.
Gladly.